Okay, guys, we're gonna do our recap for today's trades. Today we traded one stock, KCAC. This was on the morning gapper watch list. Uh, it did make a nice move pre-market, as you can see here, from $10 all the way to a high of 16.28. It did offer a few pullbacks here throughout the morning. I was not watching it. It kind of rode. It respected this VWAP level, this orange dotted line. It I wasn't watching it here during this part of the morning. I just ended up watching it here towards the end of the pre-market time, and I was watching this out of the gates. But at the same time, it was a little bit expensive, so I wasn't too sure that it was going to work. It did make a nice little move out of the gates. As you can see here, we'll jump in here on the 1 minute chart so we can look at it in better detail. Uh, so it opened up. Let's see the high of this candle. Actually, it squeezed up pre-market. It squeezed up from, what is it, 1595 all the way up to 1640, and then on the first candle of the day, it did pull all the way back down to that level in the 80s, 90s, and it kind of just faded off here. It wasn't strong. It was just showing a weakness. And then here, out of nowhere, from 1580 all the way up to 1620, nice 40 cents. And then it just squeezed up there from 17 up to 1725. Very nice right there. So this stock was very unpredictable. I mean, it was predictable, but unpredictable at the same time. The reason for that is because it kind of kept doing these moves that just you didn't expect. You would think that it was done, by the way it was trading on the chart, by the way it looked, and out of nowhere it would just surprise you. So that was kind of a predictable pattern there, to predict the unpredictable, if that makes any sense. The good thing about this stock is that it repeated the same thing over and over a few times. As you can see here, this is one that you do not want to get in on the breakouts. For example, here, if you get in on this breakout, for a micro pullback, you're gonna lose your shirt. From 1740 all the way back down to $15. It broke this VWAP. It did not hold VWAP. It broke it to the downside. So here you'll think, okay, well, this stock is done. It's weak. You have a lot of red volume on this pullback. It's just done. But here you can kind of see that it's consolidating around this level. So you got a few things going for it. A break of this is a pivot point here on the high of this candle, 1545, and then you got the break of VWAP to the upside. Okay, boom, you get a little profit, 1550 up to 1575, and a move up to 16, it's 50 cents profit of 1625, and you just try to take your profit at the very top. Usually you want to take profit on the other side of the whole dollar, so you would have been taking profit anywhere from 16 to 1625, and there, if you didn't take your profit, you'll be back down to break even and then a loss. Here, this was pretty predictable. It came down to VWAP. The next, that is support. You got two support levels, the VWAP and the low of this candle, which is 1554. It breaks this level. The next level is the next whole dollar, 15, and it just kind of chopping up around that area down below VWAP. Now it's coming back up to VWAP. So remember the thing that it did earlier up here? It broke this 1545 level. Okay, so this kind of looks like it's wanting to do the same thing. Let's see if it does it. Boom. Yep, there it goes. 1550 up to 1580. So guess what the next candle is going to do? Is it going to make a micro pullback, break a 1575 for a move up to 16, maybe 1625? Yes, up to 16. So what is this next candle going to do? Another micro pullback. From based on this pattern right here, it's going to pop up and maybe up to 1625 or 1650. Let's see if that's the case. It kind of struggled there, so it's just kind of chopping up around this area. It did get to a high of 1612, not quite up to this level, but kind of similar. And here it's just coming down to VWAP, and on this one it's just where it goes from $16. This right here is a pretty nice setup. You had this little pullback here. This little candle made a new high. This candle made a new high for 16. a little pullback here. So it candle to make a new high. It's 15.95. Boom, 15.95 up to 16.50. So that's a very nice. That's pretty nice right there. 50-cent move, and then another micro pullback there up to 16.75, and just kind of pulling back here. Came all the way back down to VWAP, this orange dotted line. So as you can see, it's respecting this level here. It respected it here, respected it there. Also on this candle, it respected it here, and definitely here. Another respect here, another level here. So now it came back down to that VWAP level, and now it's kind of just chopping up around it. It's just dancing around that level. I was kind of watching this. This is where I took my first trade on it. So since the dips were working pretty well on this stock, I was like, well, I'm gonna go for it. Plus, it was already about 1 hour into the day, and I hadn't taken a trade, and I was kind of being impatient. I guess that kind of is what messed me up a little bit too. So I was watching for a dip buy. The low of this candle was 1540, and dips were kind of working on this trade. This stock, it's just it happened that it didn't work on this one. But 1540 was the support level. I was like, well, if it's already below VWAP, if it breaks the VWAP level and comes down to that support at 1540, I'll get in there for a pop back up to maybe 70, 75, even 16 if it's strong, if people see that level as well. So it broke it. It came down. It tapped 40. Jumped in. I got filled around 46, and it didn't work. I mean, it came down to 1530, and it ended up. I was like, man, this thing is it's gonna fake me out. So I'm gonna just go ahead and cut the position. I ended up getting out around 1540. It did go lower, a little bit lower. As you can see here, it hit a low of 1526, and then on this level, this is a support level 1526. Once it breaks that, of course, it kind of broke down, hit a low of 1511. So, from 46 down to 11, that's 36 cents. I did not want to lose that. So 30 cents, whatever. I just cut my losses. It was like a 6-cent loss, 5 cents, so it's not a big deal. I gave it room. Well, didn't really give it room to play out, but I was like, well, if it comes down to 15, it might find support at 15, but that's already 40 cents from my entry, 46 cents from my entry, and that's just a nice size loss, and I don't want to hold through that. But what this stock did, it kind of just effect out those short sellers down here, down at this level. Maybe took early short or early shorts here right above 15. Well, it came all the way back up to 1570, 16, so up to 1610, and squeezed up to 1660. So that's pretty strong there. Hang on a second. Okay, so yeah, it hit a high of 1660. So on that one, what it showed me was that, man, well, this stock, it's a slow one to play out. You can't really expect to get in and it to work right away. Usually on the stocks that I get in, like I'll get in and they immediately pop up, kind of like this big candle. It'll do that almost immediately from where I get in. So if I got in here on this next one, you will see that big candle for that big move up. That's kind of what I shoot for. But this one, it took it 10 minutes. Each one of these candles is 1 minute. It took it about 10 minutes to finally play out, from my entry at 1540 up to 1660, over $1 per share win, basically. So here, potentially, my loss would have been 40 cents for a potential of $1. So 2-to-1 profit to loss ratio. It's a nice ratio there. Is it 2-to-1? 15, yeah, 40. Yeah, it's about a little bit over two for one. So, and then here it just keeps going up, hit a high of 17. So from 15.50 up to 17, $1.50 per share possible win. So here you had this right here is pretty nice. I don't know if I would have taken this one. So it hit a high 1660. It pulled back. So this is a micro pullback here, a little bull flag here. 1660, a break of that. You've got lower red volume bar on this one. So the next candle, you get in for a break of that level of 1660 up to 1680. And what do you do next? I hit 17. Another little pullback. So I guess what I could have done here was maybe watch another one of these. Let's see what it does. Nope. So barely broke it. It was a false breakout. It came all the way down to 1650. Next candle, most likely, it's going to be another candle to go lower, which it is 1630. So from 50 down to 30, from 50 down to 30. So the way I traded this one was on a little pullback down to, I was trying to get in around the $75 mark, 75-cent mark for a move back up to 17, but I got in there around 75, and immediately I was like, well, this isn't working out really well, so I just cut it loose. Again, it was an impatient trade. I think it was like a 5-cent loss, and I got out. I could have held it longer and sold up here at 17, 17, 11. I think that's what I was originally trying to do, just kind of anticipate. If I would have done that, anticipated the 1 minute pullback, that would have been a nice little 30-cent trade, 40-cent trade. But I was kind of watching for that faster resolution, watching the level 2 instead of really watching the chart. The level 2 was telling me to bail out, so that's what I did. And then so that was 2 trades, red on 2 trades that I took, one here and then one over here. The setup, I guess, on the chart isn't the cleanest entry. Like I said, I was kind of more trading off the level 2, and it just depends on the kind of stock that you're trading. Some you might need to focus on the level 2, and then some more on the charts. This case was more on the charts. Level 2 wasn't really helpful as there was a lot of volume. You would, whenever you see a lot of selling, you would think, okay, well, this is gonna break this level, and no, it just ends up holding that level and then making it move higher because the chart dictates it to move higher. That's just kind of the way it works. So I was like, okay, well, here we made a nice little move up to 17 on this little pullback. I'm kind of interested in another little pullback trade. Again, on this one I got in kind of like at the bear flag. This is definitely a bear flag. It pulled back, popped up. So a break of this level 1640. Break this level 1640 is definitely a pullback, at least down to 1630, showing weakness. And yes, it came down to 1622. Well, guess what I got in? I got in around 1636, 1640. A little bit too early. But I was like, well, I don't want to stop out just yet based on what this last uh, pattern did. It's kind of similar. I mean, you break the support level here, 1550, and it just kind of pulls back. It pulls back to even lower, and it just finally breaks out. So this is a little bit longer explanation, a recap, but I just kind of want to get into detail on what I was looking at. Okay, so it comes down to 1622 on the next candle. It comes down a little bit lower, 1615. At this point I was like, well, I don't like to hold my stocks very long. I like to get in and get out quick. This is probably one of my longest stocks that I held, but I was just kind of wanting to see what it did. So on the next candle, it was just chopping up around that area. It came up to 1640. I was like, well, you see, that's kind of what I was waiting for based off of this previous trade. And so here we can see that we have a little bit of increasing volume. Unfortunately, it is on a red volume bar, red candle. And then here, boom, from 1640 up to 1668. So that's a nice squeeze. So I'm green on the trade. I'm green. I took a little bit of profit up here on the other side of 50 because it hit 68 and then pulled back down to 50. And I was like, well, I don't want this to go red on me. So I'm going to just take half of my profit. Took it here on the other side of 50. And I was like, well, I'm going to hold the rest, see what it does. and boom, came all the way up to 1720. So from 1640 up to 1720, and you know, I took some more, another half of profit here right under 17. I should have held the rest, but you know, I just didn't want it to go red. I didn't want to give up that profit, which I need to work on. So I broke that $17 mark on the other side of 17. It pulled back here. On here, I was afraid it was going to break 17 and then just fell, so I took it all. I took all my profit out, a little bit over $17, and but this thing ended up going all the way up to 1750. You know, so that was a very nice trade right there. So basically, I was risking from 40 down to 16, from 1640 down to $16. So I was risking 40 cents, and in return, you know, from 1640 up to 1750. So that's another 2-to-1 profit to loss ratio, a little bit over 2-to-1 profit to loss. So that's pretty good as far as returns. I kind of wish I would have held more of the position and sold more on the other side of 17, because this right here is the next, would have been the profit target right there, $17. You know, that's usually what you want to look for. At least a break at this level here, 1680. If it breaks that level, maybe even add 1680 for a move up to 17, and you know, just start taking profit up here at 1710. That's the right, correct way to do it, based trading off the charts and not so much level 2. So that's kind of just something to keep an eye on. Maybe, so this was a higher priced, slower mover, but more clean on the chart than it was on the level 2. So maybe stocks that are slower moving on the chart focus more on the chart more than instead of the level 2. So more focus on the chart than the level 2 for these slower trading stocks. The faster ones, yeah, of course, the faster ones that are making moves in a matter of inside 1 minute candles, yeah, definitely have to watch level 2s, because you're not going to be able to see those patterns on the candles. So yeah, that was it. I like this trade that I took here. I wish I would have been more patient with it, maybe had a better entry, you know, maybe down closer to the 25, the quarter mark, instead of a little bit higher up here. But at the same time, you know, you can't always capture the bottom, the very bottom and the very top. So I'm happy with that. I did take 3 trades, red on 2 and green on 1 out of the 3, but I am green on the day thanks to this one. You know, nice little move there. All right, guys, so any questions, just let me know.